Hi guys, my name is Arya and I'm from Edureka. Welcome to this session on smart contract tutorials. So we'll be going over the following topics today. We're going to discuss what a smart contract is, we're going to see who invented smart contracts, and we're going to discuss their key properties. We're going to go through the development languages and the advantages and disadvantages of smart contracts. Furthermore, we're going to see through some smart contract tools that are really necessary for development, and in the end of this tutorial, I'm going to show you all how to deploy your own smart contract on a test network. So without much ado, let's get into today's session. When blockchain was released back in 2009, people didn't know what to really use it for, other than the general bookkeeping of transactions. Well, it's been almost a decade since blockchain was invented, and we've come across really interesting use cases that implement the blockchain in their own unique ways. One such use case is Ethereum, which was the first blockchain platform that implemented the concept of smart contracts. So what exactly is a smart contract? Well, a proper definition states that a smart contract are executable logic that runs on a blockchain network. This basically means that smart contracts are just simple programs that run on the blockchain. This opens up the blockchain to be used in a variety of sectors. Smart contracts are available that control the logic behind simple things like gambling, asset transfer, vote counting, etc. Blockchain is also the ideal space for smart contract storing due to its decentralized nature. This allows smart contracts to realize transactions without the need of an intermediary. Even though the first application of the concepts of a smart contract was with the launch of Ethereum, the genesis of the idea dates back to early 1994, and the entire credit goes to Nick Schwab. Nick was well known as a cryptographer and a computer scientist. He introduced his idea of electronic contracts that would handle protocols regarding e-commerce when strangers met on the internet. In 1998, Nick even designed a mechanism for a decentralized digital currency called Bitgold. Even though it was never implemented, it acts as a direct precursor to the Bitcoin architecture. Today, we have numerous blockchain platforms other than Ethereum that support smart contract functionality. For example, Hyperledger Fabric, NEM, and Stellar. Regardless of the platform they are deployed in, smart contracts have some general key properties. Firstly, every smart contract is autonomous in nature. This means that once a developer has created his logic and deployed it on the blockchain as a smart contract, he does not need to participate in any of its processes. Smart contracts are also auto-sufficient, which means that they can collect money, realize transactions, distribute resources, issue and spend to allow a larger capacity of storage and computation power. Lastly, smart contracts are decentralized. They are distributed by various network points instead of being focused on one single central source. Smart contracts are mostly developed in their network-specific languages, like Solidity, Serpent, Viper, but there are application programming interfaces these days that allow developers to develop their smart contract in languages they are familiar with, for example, Python and JavaScript. Smart contracts come with their advantages and disadvantages. Let's discuss their advantages first. First of all, smart contracts assure complete safety and security as data in a decentralized registry cannot be lost or hacked. Secondly, they remove third parties and hence assure agent neutrality in signing of deals. Next, as smart contracts are completely automated, this means that it performs the job with utmost precision without a chance for human error. And since everything is automated and run by code, it also saves a lot of precious time. Like every technology, smart contracts too have their own shortcomings. Firstly, they are a hassle to maintain. As things are immutable on a blockchain, this means that every time you update your smart contract, you have to deploy it as a completely new contract at a new address. The concept of a distributed and decentralized backend service is difficult to understand for inexperienced developers. Since it is a new technology, people generally tend to be suspicious and skeptic when implementing smart contracts. Now that we've seen the pros and cons, let's see the tools available for helping us build our smart contracts. Every contract firstly needs a wallet to store its transaction values in. There are many wallets available like Mist, Armory, and Multibit which serve this purpose. Secondly, we need a framework which makes our lives as a developer much easier for deploying these contracts. Good examples of frameworks include Hyperledger Fabric and Truffle. We also need a compiler for our scripting language, but these can be easily replaced by online compilers like Remix and Composer Playground. Lastly, we need a test network to actually test our smart contracts on, as once they are deployed on a regular blockchain network, they become immutable. Smart contracts have seen some really interesting use cases over time. Let's go through a few of them. Gambling, for one, has been made secure and lightning fast with the use of smart contracts. Voting smart contracts exist that make the process completely transparent and corruption-free. Smart contracts are also being used to speed up processes involving deal signing, for example, financial agreements and insurance policies. Other than that, smart contracts are also being used to automate entire organizations where things like payment distribution, incentive handling are completely automated. These organizations are commonly known as decentralized automated organizations. Now that we've seen everything about smart contracts, it's time we deploy our own smart contract on our test network. For this exercise, we're going to need Node.js and NPM installed and updated to the latest version. For the following exercise, we'll be using the following technologies. We'll be using Web3.js framework to interact with our smart contract through a front-end API. We'll be using TestRPC as our test network, and we'll be using Solidity to develop our contracts, and compiling them will be done through the Remix browser. So without much ado, let's get started. To get started, we must go to the Remix browser first. As you can see, you get a smart contract out here. So we'll be creating our own smart contract. So press the sign button and give it any name you want. So we'll be compiling our smart contract through this Remix browser, and we'll be developing it in Solidity. This contract will not be very complicated, as the motive of this exercise is to show how you can deploy your own smart contracts and test them on a test network. So let's get started. We define our contract with the contract keyword, and we'll call it demo. Now we need one variable, and it's going to be a string, and it's going to be public, and it's going to be called name. We're going to make two functions, one to set the name, so function set name, which takes an argument string and sets that string to the name variable. Next, we need a function that gets the name, so function get name, and this is going to be view only and a public nature, and it will return a string. So it's going to return the variable name. Now that we've created our smart contract, it's time to compile it. So you just go and press start compile. And as you see, we only have warnings, which we don't really care about, and we don't have any errors in the smart contract. So next, we will need to set up our test network. For that, open command prompt and go npm i-g ganache CLI. Now you just wait for it to install. Now that it's installed, just type in the command ganache CLI, and this should start up your test network. So as you see, that our test network is up and running, and this gives us 10 accounts. These are the public keys, and these are the private keys. So on the Remix browser, go to the Run tab and change the environment to Web3 provider. Click OK. And as you see, the provider has been changed to the Web3 provider, which is running on the test RPC. So now we need to create our contract, and it's been created at this address. Now it's time that we create our front end for this contract. So to do that, you open command prompt again, go to desktop, okay, and you make a folder. So we're going to call our folder test, and you go into that folder and you go npm init. Just press enter through all these questions and you're done. So we've basically initialized our JSON files. So now we need to also install our framework. So for that, we go npm install -- save, so that it gets saved as a dependency in the JSON file, and Ethereum JS Ethereum /web3.js. Oh, I made a spelling mistake. This won't get installed properly. npm install Ethereum /web3.js. Once the framework is installed, just go and check in the folder. You should have 3 folders, one with node modules, and you should have this web3 folder out here. So now we'll have to create our front end. So for that, we're going to create a new file. So go to the folder where you installed web3.js in and initialize your project and create a new text file. We'll call this index. It shouldn't be a text file. So we're going to save this as in the same folder. We've got an index.html. So now we just put in the HTML boilerplate, and we're going to call our web page Smart Contract Tutorial. Second of all, we need to include our script. So the source is, go to the node modules, you go to web3, you go to dist, and you just copy this thing. And don't forget to change these. And the end, type web3.js. Now we've done that, we will create our HTML for this particular thing. So it's going to be very simple. We have a div, and in this div we're going to have an input. So input type will be text, and we have given name, we'll give it a placeholder. We enter name, and now we're going to have a button. So button, and we're going to call it set name. Let's give this, and we're going to have an output part, and this is just empty. So let's give these some IDs. So let's give this an ID of input. This will have an ID of button, and now this will have an ID of output. So let's see what this looks like. Yeah, so we have our basic thing. So if I type in my name and set name, something should come out here. So let's get that working. For that, we need our script. And so let's declare a variable called web3. We're going to be using this variable to reference our framework. So if type of web3 is unequals to undefined, I'm going to set the network provider to web3 equals new current provider. So if it's an undefined type, we set to the current provider, and else web3 equals new web3 dot providers dot http provider. It's gonna be, what was our CMD running at? It was running at localhost 8545 if I'm not wrong. So http. So now that we've specified our provider, we need to specify our default account. So web3.ed.default account .ed.accounts. This basically means that we're setting the first account as the default account, and we'll be doing all our transactions based on this. So now we need to define a contract. So our new contract equals to web3.ed. Now we need to paste in our contracts ABI out here. The ABI stands for Application Binary Interface. To get the application binary interface, go to the compile tab, go on details, and you basically need to just copy this small thing out here. Wait, yeah, this thing, ABI. Copy this and just paste it out here. This basically shows what functions are there in the contract. Next, we need to instantiate our contract. So var contract equals to new contract dot add. So dot add, we specify the address of our contract, which was basically this. So that's the address that our contract has been deployed at on a test network. Now we need to do some fiddling. So let's get our outputs and inputs. Var and we need to just Control-C. We'll give them a different name. This was the input, and it had an ID of input. And this was the output. This had an ID of button, and we're going to call it button. Okay, so now we go contract dot. What was the name of our contracts function? It was set name. So contract dot set name will give us, should be input dot value, and this should only happen when we click on our button. So we're listening for a click, and our callback function will basically do this. So we selected all the elements of our contract, of our HTML rather, and then whenever somebody clicks the button and sets the name, we're going to get an output from the contract get name. So let's save this now. File, save, and let's try running it. Looks like we made an error. HTML 83. Oh yeah, I forgot this. That should have fixed it. Cannot read property providers of undefined. HTML 27. I forgot the new keyword out here. And okay, so document.getElement 79. Okay, this needs to be small. That was a mistake. Yeah, seems like we've run out of errors to solve now. So basically this should go, yep, now you see, we've deployed a contract on the smart contract, and now we're getting the output out here. So basically what happens is our contract is running at this address out here, right here. It knows what's in the contract through this application binary interface, which we see right here. And basically Web3.js just lets us interact with our contracts. I hope you learned something today, and this is all from me. Goodbye.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!